Hi there. We just got the episode runtimes for the first half of House of the Dragon Season 2. And keeping in mind there's 8 episodes this season, that's 4 episodes. So I want to do a quick rundown of that and then compare it to prior seasons, just to show you we're not really getting shorted or anything, that when you average out everything, what are we getting? Well, from the report, Episode 1 will be 64 minutes. Then episode 2 will be 72 minutes. Then episode 3 is 65 minutes. And then episode 4 is actually only 52 minutes, but we know that's the big battle episode, the Battle of Rook's Rest. And you can imagine there's not going to be a lot of dialogue, it's going to be really fast, a bunch of action. That makes sense. Well, it's action. I get that. How does this compare to House of the Dragon Season 1 in terms of average runtime per episode, because that was a 10-episode season? House of the Dragon Season 1 averaged out at 62 minutes per episode. Well, the shortest was 54, and the longest was 67. So technically, Episode 4 will be the shortest we've ever gotten at 52, but again, giant action episode, it's one big action scene. I'm not worried about that. I already talked over this last year in terms of going over how does House of the Dragon compare to a Game of Thrones season. We can't really compare to 7 and 8 because those weren't 10-episode seasons, but how does the 10-episode House of the Dragon Season 1 compare to the last full 10-episode season of Game of Thrones, which was Season 6? Well, the average runtime for Season 6 was 56 minutes, compared to House of the Dragon Season 1's 62 minutes. So, on average, 6 episodes longer for 10 episodes, 6 times 10 is 60. As I've said before, House of the Dragon Season 1 was the equivalent of 11 Game of Thrones Season 6 episodes. On average, playing with the numbers like that. So, averaging out, rate per minute, what are we apparently getting in House of the Dragon Season 2? The whole, well, are the episodes proportionately longer? Well, they're not shorter. That they average out to 63 minutes. Adds up to 253, divide by 4, you get 63 and a quarter. So, the per episode average runtime is maybe a minute longer than Season 1 was. So, that isn't going to add up to a 9th episode, that if we get like one more minute for 8 episodes, 8 minutes is not near the 50 I need to say, oh, it's like 9 episodes. But you have to take into account that episode 4 is very short, because it's an action scene. What if that's the shortest episode, is Battle of Rook's Rest, and if every other episode is in the 65-minute range, or maybe even 70-minute range, we could still be looking at not the equivalent of 9 House of the Dragon Season 1 episodes, but towards having maybe 9 Game of Thrones Season 6 episodes. That, let's just, for the sake of argument, say that the entire season will average out to 63 minutes, okay? 63 minutes on average per episode for an 8-episode season. 63 times 8 is 504. And let's divide that by the average runtime of a given Season 6 episode, which was 54 minutes. 504 divided by 54 is 9.3. So, slightly shorter than a 10-episode Game of Thrones Season 6. 9 and a third Season 6 episodes. Maybe. Because for all I know, we're getting another 2 70-plus minute episodes as the 7th and 8th episodes of this season. It's hard to say. But what matters more to me is the advanced reviews from private critic screenings said it feels normal. It does not feel slow, nor does it feel rushed. It just feels like they got right back into it. Like Game of Thrones with like 10 episodes, like the beginning of Season 3 was a little slow. They had to reintroduce everything. They don't reintroduce everything. They assume you watched the last season. But they're still setting up new plot points, and it's weird you have to read through the fluff of the reviews that didn't really get it, that the first 2 or 3 episodes are a lot of necessary politics scenes and war planning. But if you read the not frivolous reviews, they're going, this is what we came for. We came for planning scenes where they're debating what to do. And none of these are fluff scenes. They said all of them are relevant. They're planning scenes where they're explaining what they're going to do on maps. And this leads up to the screeners they sent out were for the first 4 episodes. They go, all of this is leading up to just episode 4 is all battle, all action scene. And there's this nice balance of there's a lot of planning, rising action, then bam, episode 4. And that if you liked season 1, you'll like season 2. It doesn't feel shorted. And again, most TV shows these days have less than 10 episode seasons. That's relatively normal now. And again, because the act breaks that were in Fire and Blood, that when we heard there were going to be 8 episodes, I wasn't really upset because I also saw winteriscoming.net going, yeah, having read this, there's roughly 8 episodes before the next big chapter break of what you would consider a stopping point. Give or take, and I wish there were 2 more episodes because we don't think the other great houses are going to be in this nearly as much as our headcanon would want them to be, but we'll see what happens. And like I said, I think they took what was Act 2 and expanded it to like 16 episodes, then split it in half. They love doing that these days, where they have like Breaking Bad really had 6 seasons because they had a supersized 5th season. Mad Men did that too. So that's what we're looking at, like a little over 9 Game of Thrones season 6 episodes in terms of runtime is still a pretty heavy season.